Hello, everybody. This is Matt Miranda, and my icebreaker that we're going to do this week for class, and what I'm actually going to use it for is you and your teaching personality. What color teaching personality you are. And some of y'all may have done this before, so if you have not, then maybe you'll learn something new. If you have, then who knows? Maybe you changed. You never know. Well, eventually you're going to know what your personality is, but it helps to understand what your teaching personality is when we teach kids. And what I've developed this one for, this is actually made by a lady out of Austin named Anita Reed, and she does different leadership type trainings and seminars. And so I use this a lot in my 4-H groups. And what we are using it for this year, or what I'm going to use it for this year, is to do a training for teachers to come in and learn about hatching in the classroom projects. But we'll start off our class. We're going to do an online portion to that class. We'll also do a class face-to-face, but this is what we'll do with them, and this is what we're going to do with y'all. So feel free to leave some feedback and enjoy. So, what can your personality tell you about teachers and students? How we view teaching and learning. Everyone, no matter who they are, has their own view of what teaching and learning is and how it should be gone about doing it. We all have a preferred teaching style. My teaching style, preferably, is to use my hands and to get in there and teach people with hands-on activities and things like that. But some people may prefer more of a lecture style teaching. Students' reactions and methods to our styles of teaching are also very important. If you have some kids in your classroom that might be a little wild and crazy to you, but maybe not to other teachers, maybe it's because their learning style and your teaching style are that different. And so it's good to try to understand your personality and what your personality means. That way, if we ever come up against a problem in our classroom, maybe it's not that student. Maybe it is just learning how to deal with their way of learning. And finally, how students learn from our teaching. What do students, whether they be kids or adults, how do they learn from how we teach? Do they actually learn it, or do they just kind of mimic it and not really learn it? Understanding your personality and your teaching personality is very important. So again, this is the color personality profile. It was developed by Anita Reed. And what we're going to do today is, if you have not done it already, there is a link on the discussion bar for you to go and do the Google form to fill out the test. And what the test is there's a series of questions, and it asks you to pick one from each line. And then at the end of it, you will add up all of the red answers, the blue answers, the green answers, and the yellow answers, and add them up and write them down. That way you can go back and see what your color personality profile is. There are no right or wrong answers. There's no good or bad answers. If you score a 9 or 10 in a particular area, you are very strong or very high in that personality color. And if you haven't been able to tell or not, and we'll go over mine here in a second, it's pretty clear once we get into it which color personality I am. If you score a 1, 2, or 3, anything low like that, you may have some of those characteristics, but you don't usually exhibit them when you're teaching. If you have a split score, such as like that, 7, 7, 7, and 8, you have a wonderful combination. You can teach pretty much anything, or you could be termed wishy-washy. So just keep that in mind. And if you have not done the Google form yet, please pause the video, go do that, and then come back to what we're doing, because the next few screens we're going to discuss the different colors. So our categories that we have are our reds, our yellows, our greens, and our blues. Our upper colors, the red and yellows, have to do with how we deal with people, and our lower ones, our greens and our blue, how we deal with tasks. And we'll start off with red characteristics first, because reds like to go first, and you'll see why. If you're a red personality, a good descriptive word for your personality is action. These are the people of action that see something that needs to be done. They're going to do it. They're going to be in charge. They're going to enjoy being in charge. They hate sitting around doing nothing. Okay? Some key words: they're very direct, they're frank, they're blunt, they're incredibly determined. They want to win. You'll see a lot of red people as coaches. They're extremely goal-oriented, and they have a lot of high energy. Although sometimes the high energy is great, other times it can be overwhelming for other people around. Some common jobs that red personalities have: they tend to be workaholics. They're CEOs. They only see the bottom line. They don't care how you get to the answer. There's going to be an answer. They would tend to be our oil tycoons, or Mark Cuban. And if any of you are a Dallas Mavericks fan, I'm sorry. But Mark Cuban is a good example of a red type personality. He will do whatever it takes to get the job done. From a teaching perspective, these might be the teachers that say, kids, sit down and listen. And what I mean by that is that they typically are not going to be the ones that like the kids roaming around the classroom and asking a lot of questions, because asking a lot of questions can get in the way of getting to the end of their goal, which in their case that day might be to finish the lesson or finish the test. So from a teaching perspective, they don't like they want it to be structured, or they want it to be structured, but they also want to be in command of the classroom. Some good activities that a red personality might do would be things, nice solo sports like skiing, golf, driving sports cars. They don't like a whole lot of interaction with other people unless they're in charge of those people. Now we're going to talk about my color personality, or my main color personality, and that is yellow. And the first thing that you'll notice about yellow people is that they're very, very friendly. They will talk your ear off. They will listen your ear off. They're very, very friendly people. They like to have conversations. They like to be part of the group. They don't like to do things by themselves. They're people. Some key words, these are our social people. These are the party planners and things like that. They're very optimistic or idealistic. They'll talk to anyone. I don't know how many times I've gone to the gas station and come away with a new friend because I've been talking to the people at the gas station. They're happy. I tend to be very happy. They like to help, and I do love to help. And they can be slightly annoying at times, especially when they don't talk a whole lot. Or when they do talk a whole lot, and if a red personality is around, they're not going to want to listen to you talking the whole time. They don't get a lot of things done. They're big procrastinators. I do everything well, but I do it at the last minute. So that's a few characteristics of yellow people, yellow personalities. Some good jobs for yellow personalities are PR and salespeople. Also, Walmart greeters. Like I said, if you are comfortable talking to just about anybody and you like to talk to those people, there's a good chance that you may have some yellow characteristics. From a teaching perspective, these are the kind of teachers that are like, all right, let's go outside, let's learn, let's dig in the dirt, and let's have fun, and let's have a party. And they tend to be, these types of teachers tend to be more popular with kids. The problem that they might have is they may have a real hard time getting back control of the class if they have lost control of the class. And with as much fun stuff as they want to do, it's very easy for a yellow personality to lose control of the class that they're teaching. Some good activities for them to do, anything that's team sports or riding in vans or group activities. My favorite thing, when I was in college, I was a bus driver, and I loved it because I got to see new people and meet people all day long. Yellow personalities love bus rides, long drawn-out bus rides. They typically like to ride in airplanes and talk to the people on the airplane. They're that one person on the airplane that doesn't shut up. So that is yellow characteristics. And if you have some of those, then you are in good company. Next, we're going to talk about our green people, our green characteristics. And if we could describe green people in one word, they would be organized. Literally nothing would get done in this world if we did not have green personality people. Some key words for these green characteristics, and when I do my personality profile, I don't have any green characteristics. I'm not organized at all. If you could see my desk that I'm recording this from, you would know that. In my office and my house and my car and everything else, I'm not an organized person. I don't have any green characteristics. But if you some key words that describe them, they like control. Not necessarily control over people, but control over a situation. These are the people that pay attention to the details. They're very precise. They're very conservative. They want to do it, and they want to do it right. They don't want to cut corners. They don't want to take the easy way out. They want to find the way that makes it done correctly. If you used to play with Legos when you were little, then these are the people that followed the instructions to the T, and Lord help you if you put a block out of place. Meanwhile, I'd be over sitting in the corner playing with the Legos and taking everything apart and putting it back together just because I thought it looked cool. For jobs, these people do very well in the IRS. If you want to be a tax collector, accountants, maids, things like that you have to pay attention to detail. Green people just do very well in those areas. From a teaching perspective, these are the people that have in-depth, color-coded, everyday lesson plans, calendars, sticky notes, anything to keep themselves organized. They have a very neat and tidy classroom. They don't like things getting out of place. They're very structured on how the day is going to go. And that's a good thing, especially for teaching or in other areas where structure is highly needed. Some activities that they like to do, if they're going to play a game, they're going to be the scorekeepers. They're going to be the Monopoly banker. They like nice practical cars. They like thrifty vacations, not anything too extravagant. And yes, they're the ones that are going to have the checklists and the timelines and the to-do lists and all those kinds of things when you go on vacations. Green people typically drive yellow personalities crazy, and yellows drive green personalities crazy. Our blue people, which is my other characteristic, if you could use one word to describe them, it would be very misunderstood. Blue people are very sensitive personalities, and they're also very creative, though. They're very artistic and affectionate. Now, I did not get the creative side of the blue personality, but I do tend to be very emotional when I come to making decisions on things. Instead of listening to the instructions or the rules, I will go more with my gut. And that's what blue people do. Some good jobs would be anything where they're allowed to let some of that creativity or emotion flow. So things like plumbers, artists, and musicians. Again, I'm not a good artist, I'm not a good musician, but I have been known to put some random things together like a plumber. So it's a blue characteristic. You have to let them express themselves. For teaching, these are the teachers that have lots of stuff on the walls, desks, bulletin boards, everything. I went to a classroom last spring, and the teacher had her whole room done up like a jungle, complete with a tree in the corner and monkeys hanging from the trees, everything made out of construction paper and butcher paper. It was really, really cool to see. The blue characteristics in me loved it. So these people are going to be very, very extravagant in how they decorate and how they express themselves. Some good activities for blue characteristics, that they don't like anything with conflict. If it's an individual sport, that's better, but if it is a contact sport, not so much. They like bird watching, riding in Jeeps and Volkswagen buses. So that is a little bit on your color personalities. If you will notice, there is also a description. There's 3 links on the page. The first link is to the Google form. This is the second link, and the third link is some more in-depth descriptions on your color personality. Feel free to use this with students, and if you need the actual presentation and some other paperwork, please let me know. I'd be happy to send that to you. Thank y'all very much for playing along, and we'll see you soon.